Hi, I'm Sean Keith with Keith Law Group. I wanted to talk a few minutes about comparative fault in Arkansas and what it means. So basically, comparative fault is the law whenever you have a situation where there are more than one person potentially at fault. For example, if you are uh, driving down the interstate and the car in front of you notices that there's a police officer who has pulled over someone on the right, and they come to a sudden and abrupt stop, and you're unable to come to a stop behind them, who's at fault for that? Are you at fault for not leaving enough room, or are they at fault for coming to a stop suddenly on the interstate? Oftentimes, it might involve if you have one person who's drunk and the other person who doesn't yield. Is the person who doesn't yield at fault, or the drunk driver who, had he had his senses about him, he would have been able to react quicker? So, in Arkansas, if we file a lawsuit on your behalf and the other side alleges that, well, you were at fault or partially at fault, or what they call in the law comparatively at fault, then how it works is a jury comes back and determines A, were you injured or damaged as a result of this wreck? And B, were you at fault in this wreck? And if so, in what percentage? So let's take some round numbers. Let's say a jury comes back at $100,000. They say, yeah, you were damaged, you were injured, you had pain and suffering, you had a hospital stay, you had wage loss, you had all these things. And then they say, but you should have been paying attention yourself. Even though the other driver was drunk, you should have yielded to that person, for example. We have a case similar to that right now. And the jury says, well, in that case, the drunk driver shouldn't have been drunk on the road, should have never gotten on the road. Okay? So he's the majority at fault. He's 80% at fault. You're 20% at fault. So what happens then is they take the $100,000 that they've found for your damages and they reduce it by the 20%. So they give you a verdict for $80,000. Your claim is worth 20% less. In Arkansas, if a jury says, well, you both were at fault equally, 50-50, it's not reduced by $50,000. It's actually, you get zero. You can't recover unless the other side is at least 51% or more at fault. So that's actually called the modified comparative fault rule. Arkansas has had the modified comparative fault rule I've been practicing law for 32 years, and they've had it ever since I've been practicing law. So keep that in mind. That's one of the things that play into a case. Even if you are a little bit at fault, you still have a case, and you could have significant injuries as a result of the other person's negligence. So you need to call an attorney and have that checked out. But that's kind of the nutshell on comparative fault, and I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about this or anything else, and you've been involved in a car wreck or been injured as a result of the negligence of others, give me a call, and I'll be glad to visit with you.